In this video, we're going to talk about the awesome weapon upgrades you can get in the Underdark of Act 1. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to crush Baldur's Gate 3. The Underdark provides some of the best weapon upgrades you can get from the very start of the game. And so the Exterminator's Axe and Light of Creation Halberd are the first weapons that are better than the Everburn blade that you can get in the prologue from the Nautiloid ship. And I've got a video on how to get that blade. Check it out in the description. The game makes you think you're going to get the best weapons from these quests, finish the masterwork weapon and the Adamantine Forge, but that's not true. Actually, the best weapons that you get in the Underdark, and these are they're two-handed weapons for a fighter, barbarian, or paladin, are the Exterminator's Axe and the Light of Creation Halberd. But neither are associated with either the Sugar Tree Bark or the Adamantine Forge. So those special crafting missions actually don't give you the best weapons. Although the Adamantine Forge's Scimitar is good for foes that are less than 100% health for your Asterian or some other finesse type player such as a warlock. But it's not as good as the best weapon, the short sword of First Blood. And I also found that the mace that you get from the Adamantine Forge was not as good as the corrosive flail, which you could also get earlier in the story. So the short sword of First Blood is actually on the body of the executed deep gnome north of the decrepit village. And then the corrosive flail you also get in the Underdark, which is also better than the Adamantine mace. And this weapon for clerics can be bought from Dareth Bonecloak, but I just stole it from her. She is in the Myconid settlement, so if you do the peaceful option with the Myconid, you'll have access to her. She'll also give you the quest to find her husband, the mushroom picker quest. So in terms of a weapon for a fighter and for a finesse player and a cleric, all those best weapons are not gotten at the Adamantine Forge or not forged with the Susur Bark, but rather are part of the conflict between the Myconids and the Duergar. And so if you side with the Myconids, you're going to get all these weapons. In short, fight all the Duergar, the slavers in the decrepit village. Don't fight the Myconids until at least you've gotten the corrosive flail, and you'll be set up for your fighter / barbarian, for your finesse player, which would be like Asterian or Will, that is a warlock or a thief, and your cleric. The corrosive flail is the best weapon that you can get in the Underdark and all quests prior to entering the Underdark in Act 1 if you haven't gone to the Mountain Pass yet. Now, there's another alternative weapon for a fighter / barbarian two-handed weapon, and that's pretty awesome. That's just south of the decrepit village, the Arcane Tower. You get that from the robot Bernard, or the animated armor set is what they call it. But you know, the Arcane Tower is kind of complex, and it's kind of it's an awesome mission in itself. I'm going to give you just the cliff notes of how to get to Bernard. He's on the top floor, so you get to the second to the top floor. But to get into the Arcane Tower, there's these turrets with electrical turrets or laser turrets, and the level 3 lightning spell is the best to do this. So you want to have Gale, and you want to maybe go to turn-based mode or something like that, but you want to put him directly in line with one of those, and he may take a little damage, but the lightning bolt's going to turn it off once he gets a direct hit on the lightning bolt. And I think he's got 2 charges of the lightning bolt before a long rest. You may have to long rest him in between it. And then there are like 4 turrets so you're gonna do at least 1 long rest, and then when you get to the second to the top floor, you're not going to be able to use the elevator because you have to charge the elevator. You need to use the Susur flowers on the bottom floor, that is the basement, and then you put it into the... So the Susurs are like there's gonna be 2 Susur flowers in the garden area on the basement level. To get to the basement level from the second to the top floor, you're gonna jump onto the mushrooms, and there you're gonna be able to jump down from the next floor, and then I think you can jump down even further from there. You could also do like a teleport. Then you can go up from the basement to the first floor, but you can't get back to the second floor once you're down. You charge it with those Susur flowers. You could also use the Susur flowers to stop the turrets, but it's easier for a magic user to not do that. So I mean, if you're gonna have several magic users in your party. If you have the lightning bolt, which does like 8 to 48 damage on level 3, that's gonna be better, I think, than throwing a Susur flower and carrying a Susur flower, which is also gonna get rid of all your magic. But you could load up at those at the Susur tree fast travel, but you're gonna need several of those, like 4, to get past to deactivate them. But maybe you could pick up one and then reuse it or something like that. There are a lot of Susur flowers at the Susur tree where you get the Susur bark. Okay, so once you get the elevator working, go to the top floor, beat Bernard, and he's going to give you the Light of Creation Halberd. That is pretty awesome weapon. You know, it's debatable whether it's better or worse than the Exterminator's axe. I think it just depends on the situation. But they're very close in terms of the damage that they will do. And for the Susur bark, you have to go back to the Blighted Village, which is not in the Underdark, and you can either make a longsword, a sickle, and a dagger, and all of them are bad. They're not terribly good, but you do have to go to the Underdark to get that, and then to complete that mission. And I don't have a suggestion which one to get. I would say, you know, whichever one that you've got the weakest weapons for whichever type of character, then, you know, get either the dagger or the longsword. But, you know, if you're getting what's in this guide, you're not going to want any of them. And then for the Adamantine Forge, it's actually quite hard to find the mold for the Scimitar, which is probably the best weapon if you're going to do it. I would recommend just getting both armor sets, the heavy and light armor set. Those are a significant upgrade from anything that I've seen earlier in the Act 1, whereas the Scimitar is questionable. If it's not the first hit with a melee weapon, then it's not going to be as good as the longsword. But the Scimitar, you have to find your way up to the catwalk, and then you jump from the catwalk over to this. On the left, there's going to be some barracks for the slaves, and at the very end of this path that you get to on that left side after you've jumped off the catwalk, if you're very high up, you'll get the mold for the Scimitar. You can only make 2 things on the Adamantine Forge, so that's why I would say just make both armor sets and not even bother with it. But if you for some reason miss the short sword of First Blood, then yeah, by all means get that for Asterion or your rogue / finesse player. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to crush Baldur's Gate 3.